Okay guys, today we're going to take a look at how to apply exponential functions. So as a quick reminder, I do want to remind you that we use y equals a times b to the x power as our equation for exponential functions. And remember we use a to represent our y-intercept or our initial amount, and b represents our rate of change. I do want to refresh your memory that if b is greater than 1, that represents growth. And if b is less than 1, that represents decay. So let's look a little bit more deeply into our growth and our decay, how we can use that to help us solve problems. First of all, let's talk about some words that mean growth. If something grows, it appreciates when you're talking about money, or it increases, okay? And then with decay, when you talk about decay, you'll also hear the word depreciate or decrease. Okay, so I want you to be familiar with that language. Next, let's look at how we're going to represent this. You've seen it as a whole number or you've seen it as a fraction, but a lot of times in real situations, you'll see growth and decay as percents, okay? So anytime we deal with percents, well, first let's talk about growth. If something grows, let's do by 15%. You're going to add that to 100%, okay? So if something grows by 15%, your growth rate, or your B, is going to be not 115%, okay, because we don't see that a lot, but we're going to change that to a decimal, okay? And all that means is wherever the decimal is, we move 2 spaces to the left. So let's look at what it means if something grows. Let's use the same thing. Let's say something decays by 15%. We're still going to use that 100%, but we're going to subtract it from 100%. So 100 minus 15% gives us a B of 85%, but again, we want to write that as a decimal. So my B would be 0.85. Now let me show you how we use this. So take a look at number 1. You buy a used truck for $13,000. It depreciates at a yearly rate of 18%. Find the value of the truck 5 years later. So first we're going to write an equation. Y equals, what was our initial amount? $13,000 times what's our growth rate, or actually our decay rate. Well, watch this. It decays or depreciates 18% a year. So I'm going to do 100 minus 18%, and that is going to give me, that's going to give me a decay rate of, let's see, 82.82 raised to the x power, because you get 82%, but remember we want to change that to a decimal. Now, to answer the question, find the value of the truck 5 years later, I take that same equation that I just wrote, and my exponent becomes 5, and I type that in my calculator. So we're going to say 13,000 times 0.82 raised to the 5th power. So let's make this look like money. $4,819.62. So I used an exponential function to help me find the value of the truck, in 5 years. So now let's keep going. Number 2, you buy a used truck for $13,000. It depreciates at a yearly rate of 18%. Find the value of the truck in 6 months. Well, it looks to me like that's the same exact problem. So I'm going to write that equation again, times 0.82 to the x power, but it wants the value in 6 months. Well, here's my question. How many months, 6 months is what part of a year? Okay, so watch this. I'm going to plug in y equals 13,000 times 0.82. You have a couple of options. 6 months we know is half a year, or you could put 6 out of 12, 0.5 as your exponent, but then I'm going to type it in my calculator. So I'm going to use 0.5. So in 6 months, it will be worth $11,772, $11,772 and 0 cents. Okay. Now let's look at the next one. You buy a house for $130,000. It appreciates 6% per year. How much is it worth in 10 years? So first, let's write an equation to represent the situation. Y equals, what's our initial amount? $130,000 times, let's find our rate. It appreciates 6% per year, so you're going to add that to 100, so 106%. But remember, we want to make that a decimal, so 1.06. Then it says, how much will it be worth in 10 years? So I'm going to take my equation times 1.06 to the 10th power. And I type that in my calculator. 130,000 times 1.06 raised to the 10th power is 232,810.20. And let's try one more example. A business had a profit of $18,000 in 1995, and it increased by 10% every 3 years. Find the profit of the company after 9 years. So first, let's come up with our equation. Y equals, what was their beginning amount? $18,000. Times, it says they increased by 10%. So 100 plus 10% is 110%. So remember, we have to write that as a decimal to the x power. Now, it says they profit, or they make that every 3 years. Find the profit of the company after 9 years. So let's write our equation. Y equals 18,000 times 1.10. So if it says they make that every 3 years, you want to say, and they want to know how much they'll make in 9 years. 9 is not your exponent. It's 9 divided by 3 because it's every 3 years. Well, 9 divided by 3 is 3. But I want to show you how to start off with that fractional exponent. So let's type that in our calculator. And I can't remember. Let's see. 18,000 was their beginning amount times 1.10 raised to that a to the b key. That a to the b key is how we get our exponent of 9 divided by 3. So $23,958. 23,000, I think it was 958. Let me double check. Yep. $958 will be their profit after 9 years. So be sure you use your notes to help you with your practice, and I'll talk to you guys